In the REDD Plus, Congo Basin countries were extremely active in the negotiation. And they, in the same time, they realized that they cannot have all the guarantees that they had in mind in the beginning of the process. But they've drastically increased their capacities, the monitoring capacities and the management capacities, thanks to the credits given by different projects in the REDD Plus preparation at least. The Congo Basin countries, they've had historically a very low deforestation, and now they want also to develop their economy, thanks to agriculture, thanks to plantation. So they say we cannot be penalized because we had a low deforestation historically. We want to deforest, and I understand also this point of view. So the idea is now, how can we combine the economic development and the low deforestation? As I said, deforestation is quite low in the Congo Basin, and the main deforestation drivers are the local population. So it's the small-scale agriculture, charcoal and fuel wood gathering. But things are changing. We have seen now new investors coming for oil palm plantation, massive oil palm plantation, even some projects for biofuels, mining exploration, mining exploitation after the exploration, and even oil exploitation in protected areas, like in the famous case in the Virunga National Park. And so we see massive new investment, and once again, so the situation will change, and we can expect an increase of deforestation. The first thing to do is really the protection of the sites, because the political declaration and so on, it can take 10 years to change the mind and the agenda of many stakeholders, but you need first to maintain the capital. Then we also need to reduce the demand. So we have also actions towards China and other Asian countries to reduce the demand for ivory, but also for rhino horn, for example, in Southern Africa. So that's an important part. And we have also a strong component of capacity building and institutional strengthening in the countries. So because the countries need intelligent services, just to know where the poachers are and how to combat them. For the moment, they don't have any capacities for doing that. When I say protection of the sites, it's not only protection in the, like a ranch or something very close. It's also a link with the local population, because we are convinced that conservation without local development doesn't work. So we have plenty of projects around the protected areas of local development. It can be energy, so with hydropower plants in the Virunga, for example, but it can be rural development in all the parks in Central Africa. We have coffee plantations, for example, in order to increase the revenues of the local population, and like that they don't go also to the park for poaching or other illegal activities. The local communities exploit some trees, and you cannot, and it's a basic resource for them. They use it for construction or for energy if it's fuel wood. You cannot say, okay, stop to exploit the forest because it's really their livelihood. It means that we cannot stop completely the hunting, because some hunting is completely legal. What we have to do is to manage sustainably the resources. And for that, it's a quite innovative approach. In the past, we were very clear. Let's say, let's stop completely the hunting for 6 months, and so the local population was a bit upset, of course, because they rely on those resources. And so we try not to integrate new approaches for an innovative approach for bushmeat management, which is not obvious, of course, because first you must know exactly the resources. And it's difficult because in just a basic question, you need census, and in forest it's quite technically even it's difficult. So that's the first step. And then you manage the population like we do in hunting concessions in Europe. It's exactly the same need. Every year in the Congo Basin, 5 million tons of bushmeat are consumed. So it's a lot. If you want to have the same source of proteins with beef, you would have to cut 25 million hectares, so 10% of the Congo Basin forest. And if you cut those forests, of course, you will increase the carbon emissions and so on, so you have a lot of other problems. So it's much better to sustainably manage those resources. Probably in the future we will have to cut 30% of the forest. I don't say it's good, I don't say it's bad, but it will happen. I fear it will happen. The important question is, what do we have to maintain to be sure that we keep a good local climate, so the water cycle? What do we keep to be sure that we keep 80 or 90% of the existing biodiversity? What do we convert from forest to other land use to ensure the local development and the economic development of those countries? So that's more a land planning issue. And many countries are progressing towards this approach. So have a cross-sectorial approach between the different, the mining, the oil, the forest, agriculture, energy. So all those issues are linked because it happens on the same land. But the question is, how do we maintain in the long term livelihood for population, ecological services for the population but also for the globe, and economic development for the countries?